the first Diddy party I went to was at Prince's house. So you want to go to Prince's house to the Diddy party where Tyrese is performing and Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher are swinging on swings. That is what's happening on the other side of the wall. And so the one thing that makes this party different than a Jamie Foxx party or any other celebrity party that wrangles a bunch of young women or guys or whatever too, is that Diddy didn't let you bring your security in the party.
Oh my goodness, you're not going to believe the tea I'm about to spill today. We're diving deep into one of the most shocking friendships in music history that nobody saw coming. Prince and Diddy having tea together. I know, it sounds absolutely wild, right? But here's where it gets even juicier. Prince apparently saw straight through Diddy's facade and felt so strongly about it that he went out of his way to warn Michael Jackson about him. Now, I can already hear you gasping, thinking, hold up, weren't Prince and Michael sworn enemies? Trust me, darling, I totally understand why you'd think that. Their legendary feud was splashed across every headline and magazine cover for years.
Early on in your career, who was the guy that you looked at and said, well, I gotta get back in the studio? Did you hear so-and-so?
Yeah.
Let's get in the studio right now. Who did that for you? Everybody's got somebody.
Yeah, contrary to what a lot of people might believe, it was never somebody who was my contemporary.
There was never like any rivalry between you and Mr. Jackson?
Not to me, no.
Okay.
Let me take you back to that fateful night in 1983 that supposedly sparked this legendary rivalry. Picture this. The atmosphere is electric, the stage is set at a James Brown concert, and we have three musical titans in one building. There's Michael Jackson already soaring high on the massive success of Thriller, a certified pop icon who could do no wrong. Then we have Prince, not quite at his Purple Rain peak yet, but definitely making serious waves in the industry. So Michael takes the stage first and absolutely brings the house down with those iconic dance moves we all know and love. But then, in what seemed like a gesture of goodwill at the time, Michael asks James Brown to invite Prince up to perform. Oh honey, what happened next was pure drama that would be talked about for decades. Prince struts onto that stage, guitar in hand, clearly ready to show everyone what he's made of. But something was off. The energy wasn't flowing right. You could feel it through the screen. Then, in what has to be one of the most cringe-worthy moments in music history, Prince decides to strip off his shirt. Because why not, right? But wait, it gets even more mortifying. In a moment that I'm sure still haunts him, Prince mistook a prop for a stage lamppost and, I can barely type this, tumbled right into the audience. Can you even imagine the absolute horror? The embarrassment was so intense that Prince left that night absolutely convinced that Michael had orchestrated the whole thing to humiliate him. What followed was years of what appeared to be one of the most bitter rivalries in music history. Michael didn't exactly help matters when he started throwing some serious shade, saying things like, I've proven myself since I was real little. He feels like he's my opponent. I hope he changes because boy, he's gonna get hurt. He's the type that might unalive himself or something. Those words sent shockwaves through the industry. But wait, there's more. Michael wasn't done spilling the tea about Prince. He went on to claim that Prince was absolutely horrible to his entire family, saying he was so rude, one of the rudest people I have ever met. Prince is very competitive. He has been very mean and nasty to my family. And if you thought that was harsh, just wait until you hear what Michael said in those infamous moonwalk recordings about that James Brown concert. He made a fool of himself. He was a joke. People were running and screaming. I was so embarrassed. It was all on video. But here's where this story takes the most unexpected turn ever. Are you sitting down for this? Because what I'm about to tell you will shake everything you thought you knew about these two legends. All that public drama, all those harsh words and bitter rivalry, it was all for show. Can you believe it? According to Prince's former bodyguards, and honey, these people saw everything. Prince and Michael were actually secret best friends. I'm not even kidding. They revealed that Michael would regularly visit Paisley Park, Prince's legendary compound, where these two supposed rivals would hang out and play games like two normal friends. They'd even show up backstage at each other's concerts, supporting each other away from the prying eyes of the media. The level of secrecy they maintained is absolutely mind-blowing. Want to hear something that'll really make your jaw drop? Michael apparently trusted Prince so much that he played him the final version of the Dangerous album in his private studio before anyone else in the world got to hear it. And Prince? He absolutely loved it. They kept this beautiful friendship under wraps because the media and industry bigwigs were desperate to keep them at each other's throats, pushing this narrative of rivalry that both of them privately rejected. Their bond ran so deep that when Michael passed away, it devastated Prince. He started incorporating Michael's "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough" into his performances as a touching tribute to his friend. Tavis Smiley, who was incredibly close to Prince, even shared Prince's heartbreaking reaction to Michael's death in a 2016 interview with Extra.
I've never said this publicly. When the news came that Michael had died, Prince was in rehearsal at Paisley Park. Prince cancels rehearsals, sent the band home, and for days locked himself in his bedroom and wouldn't come out and really didn't talk to people.
Now, let me spill some really serious tea about the depth of their friendship. According to multiple sources, these two music giants would have deep, meaningful conversations about the industry. Michael would actually call Prince seeking advice, addressing him respectfully as legend. And Prince? He didn't hold back about warning Michael about the dark, twisted side of the music industry. He specifically cautioned him about people like Diddy and Jay-Z, having been through his own hellish battles with the industry elite. Speaking of battles, let me tell you about Prince's own nightmare with Warner Music. Signed at just 18 years old in 1977, he started off slow but steady. Warner kept him on their roster because they saw his incredible potential, probably the smartest move they ever made. When MTV burst onto the scene in 1982, Prince proved he was light years ahead of everyone else, understanding the power of music videos like nobody else in the game. Then bam! Purple Rain dropped and he skyrocketed to legendary status. But honey, that's when things got uglier than a fashion disaster at the Grammys. When Prince wanted more control over his own music, his art, his creation, Warner basically laughed in his face. It got so bad that Prince started appearing in public with the word slave written on his face. Can you even imagine the pain and frustration that drove him to such a dramatic statement? He was trying to show the world that Warner literally owned his name and his music. He even changed his name to that unpronounceable symbol. That's how desperate he was to break free from their chains. In an emotional and raw interview with Paper Mag, Prince laid out his struggle bare. "I wanted to buy my masters back from Warner Brothers. They said no way, so I'm going to re-record them all. Now you will have two catalogs with pretty much exactly the same music, except mine will be better, and you can either give your money to WB, the big company, or to NPG. You choose." The pain and determination in those words still gives me chills.
Well, it's not your game. You didn't make the rules, so everything comes hard. And as long as you're signed to a contract, you're going to take a minority share of the winnings. A select few of us will do well, the majority will not. So as a people, we'll be considered a minority. But stop. Let's take a moment and look at yourselves. There's nothing minor about you. You are a blessed people. You're the most talented on earth, and you are still grateful. That is why upon winning in their game, you always thank God. Tonight I would like to ask one favor of you. Imagine what we'll all be like in our own game. Peace and love for one another.
Now, this is where the story takes an absolutely chilling turn. Prince eventually won his battle and regained control of his music, but tragically died shortly after. What makes this even more disturbing is that he had warned about the elites wanting him gone. Just before his death, he posted a photo with a cryptic message that sent shivers down everyone's spine. "Just when you thought you were safe." Even more haunting? At his final appearance at Paisley Park, just days before his death and after receiving some medical treatment, he told attendees something that now seems prophetic. Wait a few days before you waste any prayers. Let's talk about why Prince was so concerned about Diddy's influence on Michael. When Diddy and Warner Music Group joined forces, it was a massive power move. They got 50% of Bad Boy Records, controlling everything from marketing to distribution. We're talking about a roster that included massive names like Mace, Mario Weens, the legendary Notorious B.I.G., and of course, Diddy himself. Diddy was all confidence and swagger about the deal, saying, "There have been a lot of boutique record labels that come and go, and we're still here. This has ensured for the next couple of years that we have the right financial backing, the right financial structure, the right partners to remain a force in the music industry." But here's the scalding hot tea. Diddy was pulling the exact same moves that Warner did to Prince, mistreating artists and denying them their rightful music rights. And when he finally started giving publishing rights back to his former artists, including the iconic Biggie, insiders were saying he'd already squeezed every last penny out of those rights. By the time he was generously giving them back, they were about as valuable as last season's fashion trends.
Diddy is just literally known as the guy that doesn't pay his artists. And it's funny, and then you move on and you like something that he did on TikTok because he's funny. But for people that worked for 6 years of their life and entered an industry where somebody made what, $48 million?
Nearly $50 million.
And we didn't even see a penny of that, and we were in thongs and 5-inch heels for years of our lives on stage. And not any of it did we see. And the measly amount of change that MTV paid us, we don't even get to feel any benefit of that because they never brought the show back. And they don't play it in reruns, so we can't even get the hype of, oh, hey, I remember this. They're cult classics. Let me hire her for something.
Yeah.
Like all of them got, right?
But wait, this tea gets even hotter. Remember when Prince thought he could trust Jay-Z? Huge mistake. He made a deal with Tidal, Jay-Z's streaming service, but that turned into a whole legal nightmare faster than you can say copyright infringement. Prince's estate had to sue Roc Nation because Tidal had the audacity to put up 15 Prince albums without proper permission. While Tidal tried to claim they had both written and oral licenses, Prince's people weren't having any of it. They said the agreement was completely fabricated and backdated. The only legitimate deal was for one single album, Hit and Run. Now, let me spill the tea about why Prince was so adamant about warning Michael to stay away from Diddy's parties. Apparently, Prince knew all about these infamous freak-offs Diddy was having and wanted nothing to do with them. Jason Lee dropped some seriously interesting information about his first Diddy party at Prince's house. Get this, no one was allowed to bring their own security. After that one time, Diddy never partied at Prince's place again, and Prince kept his distance like it was toxic waste. Makes you wonder what exactly went down that night, doesn't it? Some industry insiders have even whispered about Diddy possibly threatening both Prince and Michael at some point, though we can't confirm that tea. But given everything we know about how things operate behind the scenes, would it really be that shocking? I mean, these two musical geniuses being secret best friends, Prince trying to protect Michael from the industry's dark underbelly, it all paints a pretty disturbing picture of what really goes on behind those glittering showbiz curtains. The whole situation really makes you question everything you thought you knew about these music industry relationships, doesn't it? Who would have thought that Prince and Michael were actually the closest of friends, supporting each other through all these industry battles? And the fact that Prince was trying to warn Michael about the very people who are still major players in the industry today? That's some serious tea that needs to be discussed. So what do you think? Do you believe Diddy would really go that far? What's your take on Prince playing guardian angel to Michael? One thing's for sure, the music industry isn't all glitter and gold like they want us to believe. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this conversation is far from over.